What's up, y'all? It's Quinn Cook, class of 2015. It's the Brotherhood podcast. Y'all know what it is, man. And they brought me back, man. I got some special news that's going on at the best university, the best program in basketball. We got a new assistant coach here, my brother, since I was 9 years old. We hooped together my whole entire life, and we won a lot of games together, man. And we played together 3 years here at Duke, and he's been a champion his whole life. And got Tyler Thornton in the building, man. Tyler, you got something to say?
Appreciate you, my brother.
What's the news, man?
I'm happy to be back, man. It's a humbling opportunity to be
On the
back
staff?
On the staff, assistant coach.
Dang.
It's been my childhood dream to coach at Duke.
I know that.
So
I know that.
It's been a long grind, and I'm happy to be back.
Welcome home.
Appreciate
Welcome home.
you, brother.
How you feeling?
Feeling excited, man. The family's excited.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm just excited to get to work with these guys. I know John and the staff did a great job of recruiting, and obviously last year's team was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And losing a lot of key guys, but they did a great job of recruiting the right guys to bring in and have a fresh start and have a chance to go win another championship.
Yeah. One thing that I've always respected about you, you've probably been the most competitive guy I know. So, for you, how does it feel to be back here and these last couple years at Howard? You spent some time at Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think time at those respective programs got you ready for this time right now?
Well, I think, kind of to take it back to the beginning, when I was going through my recruiting process, with Duke, and Coach K came to visit my family at home, I remember expressing to him that, when my playing career was over, I wanted to be a coach.
Right.
And I wanted to come coach with him here at Duke. And that was always the plan. And the opportunities I've had in the business have all come from the Brotherhood. Right. My first opportunity as a grad assistant with Coach Wojo my first 2 years out of college. Took a little break to go play pro.
Yep.
And then getting a call out the blue, around my birthday in 2018 from Coach Blakeney.
Okay.
And he was interviewing for the job at Howard, and he was like, hey, I'm interviewing for the job. Be interested if you want to come join me and my staff. And slept on it for a night. Called him back the next morning and said, hey, if you got the job, I'm there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
The last 6 years have been great, really turning that program around and winning some championships, making it to the tournament,
Yeah, you did.
and putting guys in position to go play pro after college.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Coach Blakeney, man. Another DMV guy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously a Duke alum.
And you were there for our first official practice.
First practice.
First official practice.
People might not know this, but their first official practice, at Howard. I came in and watched them practice, and to see, where that program has came in the last couple years. These guys have definitely changed it. And obviously me being, from the city, my parents, are Howard alums.
Yep.
So we appreciate, you guys, giving us something to cheer for. Obviously, I didn't go there, but, I'm kind of was born into it.
Yep.
So we appreciate that. That's a full circle moment for me because obviously I was there. What you think, what was the toughest part for you, going from being a player, obviously playing at the highest level of college, to being a coach right away? What was that transition like, and what was the toughest part for you going from being a player at Duke to being a coach on Marquette?
I think the toughest adjustment is not really having an understanding of how much time goes into being on the other side of the game.
A lot of preparation.
Right. And again, sometimes it's less about the basketball, more about everything else.
Yeah.
You're dealing with college kids who are in the middle of figuring out who they are.
Right.
So, you may have family things, girlfriend issues,
right.
school issues, and learning how to communicate with the players. I think as a player with my intensity, it was easier to kind of let that out.
Right.
And as a coach, I had to learn how to manage that for myself and learn how to communicate better so I can get the most out of my guys.
Right. Great. That's great. Obviously, we're brothers, man. So I know what you're going to bring to the staff, but tell Duke Nation, tell, the world, what are you going to bring to the staff? How are you going to, help John, get the next Cooper Flagg or the next Caleb Foster or the next, Nolan Smith? What are you bringing to the staff?
Well, I think, obviously being around and having the opportunity to play here, and playing with guys like you, playing with guys like Nolan, Kyrie, Kyle Singler, and everybody in between. Understanding what a Duke man is, a Duke basketball player is, right?
Yep.
Like, it's a very special place. It's a very sacred place.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not necessarily about how talented you are. You got to be able to have a full spectrum of who you are as a person. Be able to be out in the community, be able to handle media in the right way and speak positively into the universe. So the main thing I'm bringing is, just my intensity. I'm gonna get after the guys and push them
100%.
past, the limits that they think they have for themselves, because 100%. That's how the winning happens. You got to challenge guys to want more. And obviously at the same time love them up and, build connections and help them understand that the Brotherhood is not about now. It's about, the 30, 40 years
100%.
after you put the ball down and the connections 100%. You make here on campus, Duke University alumni. I didn't really understand that until I graduated, how special that alumni base is. And then obviously the fans. Duke is a worldwide brand. So
for sure,
being able to help these guys understand and maximize their time here to understand is bigger than the moment.
Yeah. Question for you. If you had one word to describe your coaching style or your coaching approach, not using intense, because we all know you're intense and we all know you're going to compete. So without those two words, what's one word to describe your coaching style? I
would say IQ. And I think because as a young player, I always watched the game and studied the game. So when I'm watching the game, I keep like a Rolodex in my head of games I played in, games I've watched. So I think I bring my IQ for the game to really be able to kind of break things down and the details. The details of the game are very, very important. You talk about the margin of winning and losing is very small, especially at this level. So my IQ.
Right, great. I could add to that. Obviously, we've been hooping against each other and together since we were kids. And I remember you being a big man when we were kids.
Big 4-man, stretch 4.
To transition into a guard. But speaking at the highest level, I remember, my high school team, we had 5 NBA players, right? And obviously we were rivals. But I can remember you would start guarding me. You would start the second quarter guarding Victor. You would switch on Mikhail. Mikhail's probably one of the best big men in Europe right now, 5-man, played at Georgetown. And literally, like, you would know our sets. And at that level, for me, like, I knew where I was on each play, but that's it. Victor, Jeremy, those guys, like, I knew where they were supposed to be, but I knew what I was doing. You kind of showed me, like, as a point guard and as you're prepping for, your opponent, like, you got to know each position. You got to know what you guys are doing. We're playing Clemson. You got to know what their 3-man is doing. So you open my eyes, as a young player. So, your IQ has always been one of the highest I've ever, been around for sure. Back at K Academy, obviously me and you have a ritual. I think the last 6 years, I'll meet you at your crib.
We take that drive.
We take the drive down. I think this will be the last year, obviously, because, you're back here, so I got to meet you there.
I may just come up and scoop you up, man, just so we can keep that going.
Let's find a Duke fan who lives in the DMV, man, and I need a ride. I'm going to pay for the gas. I promise you. I'll get you a hotel.
You may take a nap.
You know what I'm saying? I might take a nap. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a good, passenger. But how's K Academy been? Obviously, it's a little bit more special now than obviously with the transition. But how's K Academy been?
K Academy has always been great. It's always been a fun time. Obviously, I think the reunion of the former players, and I think over the years, especially since COVID, we've gotten more and more former players to pop in and be around here at the same time. But also the connections you make with the K Academy guys. And my time at Howard, a lot of the support we got were from K Academy guys like Brad Bickley, Randy Chin, Jason Goldblatt. Like those guys really helped us accomplish our goals and get over the hump.
100%.
winning our
100%,
championships. So
100%.
the K Academy group, it's a family within a family.
100%.
And that's why I think makes this place so special.
Yeah.
You got guys that have come to K Academy 10 plus years.
Yep.
We had a couple guys, I think, that have been here 22 years since it first started.
Yep.
So K Academy is always a fun week.
Yeah.
And to get the coaching, my voice is a little shot right now because I been 2 months since the season, so I really haven't yelled. So K Academy is always a time for me to get my coaching voice back. So always love coming down.
Nah, I mean, we played y'all yesterday. I ain't gonna dive too much into that, but
I'm gonna just say I got my first win of the week, so I'm appreciative. We're not gonna talk about the score. We ain't gonna talk about the score.
I've been showing them love this whole time. No, man, but obviously, for me, it's been fun. This is always a time that, the best part is to be back.
Yep.
My former teammates, guys, who played before us, get to hang out with the guys that just got finished, that we didn't get to hoop with, and the guys who's here now. And then obviously the coaches. Like I haven't seen Coach James. I haven't seen Coach Nate in some years. So to see him, obviously Coach is watching every single game in Cameron. And it's kind of like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know about you, but I remember like getting recruited by Coach, and I still was like in awe, shocked, starstruck. And then getting here, I still was kind of, and then when I graduated, went pro, came back, I still was like,
well, Coach got what the young guys call aura, right?
Like,
he got the aura, he got the swag,
like,
and again, he is who he is.
I graduated 10 years ago. You were 11. I still see Coach. I'm like, man, that's Coach K. Like, so, and he's here watching it. So this thing, Debbie and Rachel, and this is just an amazing, event, camp, moment. Like, I look forward to this. I'm so happy.
And shout out to Debbie and Rachel, the way they've kind of grown camp and the evolution of camp and the things that they've added and the experience for the campers. They've done a great job with continuing to push the envelope and continuing to figure out ways to do more. And I 100%. Think that's a extension of Coach. Like Coach was always wanting more. He never was satisfied with what had happened in the past. 100%. Every year he wanted that next championship, and I think Rachel and Debbie do a great job of fighting for that for the K Academy.
Everything is first class.
Exactly.
Everything is first class, man. So one thing about you, man, you're a big family guy. You're a big family man. Incredible father, incredible son, incredible friend. Tell us, how important is your family, and what do they mean to you?
Family is everything. That's the foundation. That's the place where you can reset. Whatever's going on in the world when it comes to your family and your inner circle, they allow you to reset. And I'm very fortunate and grateful to have Lex, have my son Trey, my mom and dad. Like, mom can't wait to get back down here. She's like, I'm thinking about buying a house. And again, being in Durham, that's like my second home. And again, just every time I come back to Durham, seeing all the new things and the growth of
100%.
The area itself. So family is, again, that's home, and that's where the heart is.
100%. That's great. Obviously, let's get a little bit into your Duke career. I was with you 3 years. You were here a year before me. The year after the national championship, so obviously, it was a lot, expectations coming into it. Obviously, that class that you guys had, you, Ree, Josh, what was that like? Like, what was your freshman year like, coming in after the national championship and coming in with a guy like Kyrie and Josh?
It was fun, but it was extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Like you said, those guys had just won the national championship. The coaching staff that summer was with the World Cup team. So Nolan and Kyle Singler were gone with the USA Select team, and Coach Wojo, Coach Collins, and Coach K obviously were with the World Cup team. So we kind of got to campus, and it was us, a couple of guys, and we spent that summer with Coach Will for the most part. And I love Coach Will. Coach Will really helped me in a lot of ways get out of my own way as a player here, so I could get on the court and produce. But I just remember that day Coach K came back, he was like, yeah, we're going to scrimmage for 40 minutes. I just want to sit here. I'm going to watch you guys play, and we'll talk after. And he was like, Kyrie and Tyler, I want you to pick each other up full court. And I'm just looking at him like, and at that time, it was 10 scholarship guys. So there's no subs, there's no... And me and Kyrie, we were freshmen. We weren't in the shape we needed to be, and obviously we got into that shape. So 6 minutes into that scrimmage, we running up and down the court, dragging it, just leaning on each other. But it was extremely challenging. Like, you think about that guard room with Kyrie, Nolan Smith, Seth Curry, who had just came off his redshirt year, who was a phenomenal player here, and then Andre Dawkins, who was one of the best shooters I've ever seen. That's so. When it came down to the depth chart, I was the last guy on that roster. And again, the challenge is just coming in every day to compete. I learned a lot about myself. I got my butt kicked, right? But I never backed down. And I think part of that mentality is what carried me through for my 4 years. And I had to fight every year to get on the court. And that's what you want. You don't want it to be handed to you. You want to go somewhere where you got to compete and earn it. You guys come in that next year, Austin Rivers, Mike Benajay, like a really, really, really good guard group. And my job then at that time was to challenge you guys, but to also bring you along and teach you the things that, look, Quinn Cook, if y'all don't know, as a junior, DC, Washington Post Player of the Year. And I know when you were going through your process, I called you. I'm like, look, some other guys that are thinking about coming here, like, let's not wait. Lock this in. I want to play with you.
100%.
And I wanted to play with you because I knew how talented you were. I knew you were going to challenge me, but I also knew that you were what this program needed, and the program needed you just 100%. As much. And obviously it came to fruition by your senior year. Ultimate leader, made sacrifices for that group throughout the year, and you got rewarded for it. So even though I didn't win a national championship, being there, watching you go through that, I felt like I did win because watching you grow from a freshman to that point in your senior year, man, it was amazing to see. But I always knew that was on your that was for you.
I tell people all the time, like, you and Josh, showed me how to lead, especially that last year, because we got our butt kicked a lot. We lost some tough ones, but that feeling, that we had after, that first round game against Mercer. And to see you guys, like, go out like that, it kind of put, like, a fire in me, like, forever. You know what I'm saying? And how you were selfless with me, obviously, especially where we're from, it's like, when you going to Duke, like, Tyler there, like, they try to always put us against each other. You know what I'm saying? And you were always like, nah, come on, bro, we hooping together. And that showed me how to lead Tyus. Because that whole summer, Tyus going to take Quinn's spot, blah, blah, blah. Quinn, you need to transfer. And obviously I had the meeting with Coach. He wanted me to, be the guy, be the leader, which is all I needed. So the outside noise didn't matter. But, the world tried to put me against Tyus. But for 3 years, the world was trying to put me against you. And that made us closer. So you showed me how to lead selflessly, and that helped me guide Tyus along. So I always say, like, Ty showed me, like, how to lead. Like, every single day, it didn't matter if you played 30 minutes, if you started, like, literally, like, you showed me how to prepare. You showed me how to be ready. And that helped me get to the pros, playing on 10-day contracts. You know my story. I lived out of suitcase for 3 years because I didn't know where I was going to be.
You was going on the grind. You was on the grind.
I had to be ready, but, like, I was with you every single day. So, I always think that you showed me the way. And I couldn't lead Ja, I couldn't lead Ty, I couldn't lead Justice, Grayson, I couldn't lead those guys, if I didn't have your guidance. So I appreciate it. Obviously, you had some big moments here. What was your favorite moment, as a player here at Duke?
I think a couple moments come to mind. The favorite moment was, when Austin hit that shot at Carolina.
Wow, really?
Because that game.
You see how selfless he is? They all play the clip.
Yeah.
We know. I know my favorite moment of time, but that's
I think with that team, it was an up and down year. And then that Carolina team, they were really good. A lot of respect to those guys. And that game was just an intense game for a lot of different reasons, a lot of synergy. You know, me and Kendall Marshall grew up. We went to middle school together, and you know, rivals in high school. And you know, Harrison Barnes was in that class that, you know, I know we recruited really hard to try to come play with us. And we got, you know, Andre Dawkins and some of the guys on that team. And so going into that, you know, that last 2 minutes, I think we might have been down 9-10 points. And
did either you or Seth hit the first three?
I hit the first three, I was bricking it. The whole game I had wide open looks that felt good. They in and out. Kendall sagged off me. I'm trying to hit, I think, Mason in the post. Kendall sagged off, ball faked. I'm like, I gotta let it go. Again, we get a couple stops. Seth makes a shot one step in front of the half court, and then, like I said, just that moment of watching time go down, Austin sized that dude up, man. Shot go in, and I just remember us sprinting across that floor.
That was crazy.
You know, so that moment, you know, you can't duplicate it. And obviously, you know, the Maui situation, man. You always dream of hitting game winners and go ahead shots. But the Maui game for me was something I had visualized as a kid, playing the video game. You know, you have your season, right? And you always get to pick an MTE to play in. You always play the Maui Invitational, right? So to have the opportunity, and then going into that game, it was a little bit of pressure for that tournament. I know Duke hadn't lost, you know, going into that. So seeing that, hearing that is like, all right, and it's a gauntlet. Right, you know, we played some really, really tough teams. What was it? Tennessee, Michigan, and Kansas. And that Kansas team ended up being the Final Four team. But you know, those two moments would be the two moments that stand out the most for me.
No, I mean, two great ones. Two great moments, obviously, where 10-plus years from those moments, and they still get played to this day. Favorite Coach K memory or story? What's your favorite Coach K story or interaction you had with them, or something that, you know, the fans might not know about Coach K, but dealing with you?
Well, I would say the most recent favorite Coach K memory is my son knowing and understanding who Coach K is. And yesterday during our game, he's sitting over there. You know, the last month he's like, I want to see Coach K. I don't know where this came from. I want to see Coach K. So, you know, yesterday during the game, you know, Coach is sitting in his spot. And my son is sitting right there on the bench, and just seeing them two interact, man, it was a full circle moment for me, especially now being a father and understanding the importance of what this means for him. You know, looking up to, you know, the current guys, but also understanding what Duke is. Him at 4 years old, having that interaction with him, man, that really warmed my heart.
No, that's dope. Definitely a full circle moment, because I definitely know how close, you know, you and your son are. So just to have that, for him to have that moment and you to witness that, definitely amazing. Obviously, you know, you're known for your toughness, your grittiness. You'll pick up full court. You'll guard a 6'8" wing scorer. I remember, you know, you tried to guard Mike Scott for a couple minutes, you know, when he was a sophomore. Has that grittiness and that toughness translated to your coaching career?
Absolutely. When it comes to, you know, coaching and developing the guys, I don't want them to take the easy way out. Right? And,
can't do that.
And part of that is just challenging them to, like I said, go past that limit. So I don't do well with the excuses. You know, like I said, I had to guard Kyrie full court every day in practice. So whenever I hear somebody saying, it's like, it don't work for me, right? Because it's either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it.
100%.
So, and again, when you want to win, you'll do everything it takes to try to win. So I definitely bring that with me. And again, I hold guys to a high standard because I think that's important. And again, it's not just about basketball, that's in life. You know, if you hold yourself to a high standard now, it becomes a habit. And as you grow out, and again, the basketball will stop bouncing at some point, you'll continue to hold yourself to that high standard in life as a man, as a family man, as a businessman, whatever that is. You'll strive to push the envelope.
Oh, you're right. This is great, bro. I always thought that you would be a coach eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you've been one of the smartest players I've ever been around. starting as kids. Who was one of your mentors, growing up, or, when you got here, or, just AAU anytime? Who was one of your mentors that kind of, motivated you to coach?
Well, I think, the first inspiration for me personally was Todd Bozeman.
Wow.
Todd.
Shout out to Coach Bowles.
Shout out to Coach Todd, man. Todd coached us for Maryland Select before he got back into the college ranks.
Yep.
But that I played for him for 1 year. But really that 1 year for me, and I think we were 12, 13,
Yep.
I'm just watching him and just seeing how his life is.
Wow.
And it's just like it was an inspiration for me. And I think it really clicked watching the movie 6 Man.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yes,
I had no idea that Coach Todd coached at Cal Berkeley, so I didn't know. And I'm watching the 6 Man movie and Coach Todd pop up, and I get all excited. I'm like, Ma, it's Coach Todd. And my mom and dad start laughing.
And what's funny? He never told us.
He never told us, right? So then they broke down the history of it, and then that's when it really clicked for me. And like I said, I was really fortunate enough to have really, really good coaches pretty much my whole career. Yeah. So kind of taking things from each one of those guys, Coach Steve, Coach Zach, even some of my Little League coaches from a foundational standpoint. Yep. And then obviously, like I said, being here, Coach K, Coach Wojo, CC, Capel, all those guys going off and, running their own programs, and, Coach Nate, Coach Carrawell, all of those guys. And then, like I said, having the opportunity to work for Duke guys, work for Wojo. Mm-hmm. And then my last 6 years with Kenny Blakeney, I really learned a lot from Kenny and, with his business mindset and kind of thinking of Howard as a startup, a lot different from being at a place like this. Wow. But being at a startup with that mentality and how you got to hustle that and think outside the box and, whatever needs to be done, you got to be willing to do it, right? So taking a little bit from all of these guys. And like I said, I've just been very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time with the right people.
Yeah, I mean, one thing about you, you can be in any room with anybody and, figure it out. Yeah. And I always respected that about you. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, but, everywhere you've been, post-career, I mean, you've been with a guy who, has done a lot for Duke. And, when recruits talk about, going to certain places, like you said, it's a 30-year, 40-year plan. Duke has kind of springboarded your career, coaching career. And, that's what the Brotherhood is all about.
Absolutely.
That's great, man. That's incredible. Let's talk a little bit about, something that, I love and I like to talk about. I'm going to keep things spicy. Let's talk about the Duke DMV pipeline. How important is that? I think we're one of the, I guess older guys now. But there's been some great ones before us. So talk about, the DMV Duke pipeline a little bit.
Obviously starting with, guys, Danny Ferry, Tommy, Johnny Dawkins. You talk about Kenny Blakeney, Grant Hill. I grew up in Reston, and, Grant went to South Lakes. His family grew up in Reston, and, the outdoor courts that him and his dad used to work out on, me and my dad used to work out on. And just that, I want to say every championship team has had a DMV guy 100%. On it. Nate James, and now you talk about, the more recent guys kind of after us, with me, you, Nolan, and Josh. But the most recent crew, Jeremy Roach, Trevor Kills, and, obviously it's some future guys down the pipeline that we want to get. So, the DMV hoops, man, I think biasly has always had really good coaches. So that foundation 100%. That players get.
The players, not to cut you off, but the players, we're not nothing without our coaches, without our trainers. Like you said, man,
starting that little kids.
We had Todd Bozeman as our coach at 10, 11 years old.
You
can't. Coach Jason Kidd, you don't get that.
You don't get that.
And no disrespect to other places, but for that small pocket.
And he coached us like college kids. 100%. He held us to that standard. 100%. He was not babying us, and I love him for that. He coached us hard. He loved us up, but he held us to the same standard that he held his college guys to. So, at a young age, from 8, 9, 10, you get real fundamental. They're not just rolling the basketball out. You're going to do the shell drill. You're going to learn how to play a press. You're going to learn how to beat a press. You're going to learn how to make shots, make your layups, open shots, like play the right way. So, you know, that DMV pipeline, man, is elite.
Yep. We got 2 guys from the DMV on the team this year.
Yep.
So that might be a sign. You know, I don't want to make no early. He can't do it. I can. I don't want to make no early predictions, but I like us this year. I really like us. But I don't want to take too much more of your time. But no, you've been around the game your whole life. You know what I'm saying? From DC Assault to Virginia Vipers to Gonzaga. People don't know how, you know, historic your high school is. You know, I think one of the premier high schools.
Absolutely.
You know, for a long time. And I think you had the best team, you know, in your school's history.
Yeah, we just got inducted to the Hall of Fame this past year.
Yeah. I played against that team. You know, which I would go 34-1.
34-1, and the one game we lost was against the.
That was lucky. That was lucky. They were way better than us. So I ain't gonna sit here and say
they did get one on us.
We stole one. We stole one for sure. But I'm saying that to say what makes Duke different? Like what is it about Duke? You know, it's just different. Like I said, and you've been at other programs, you've recruited, you've played against different teams, you've played in a tournament, you've coached in a tournament, so you've played against the best of the best. But what makes Duke different?
I think, you know, from my experience and kind of being around the game, Duke has always had guys and really, really good players that are willing to play with other really good players, but also willing to compete for opportunity to get on the court.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's what's made Duke special.
Right.
Guys aren't running and ducking from the competition. And that's why if you get a group that's willing to compete day to day at a high level in the closed practice space, in the weight room, on the track, on the Duke trail, right? Like you compete in everything, the trail, right? You compete in everything.
Yeah.
Now that product, when it's time to go play against somebody else, you know, that's when the fun really happens, right? Yeah. But Duke, I think, is special because you can have 8 McDonald's All-Americans on the team at one time. Everybody can't be the guy, but all those guys are willing to compete and, again, willing to make sacrifices 100%. For the opportunity to get to a Final Four and the opportunity to win a national championship. 100%. So I think that's what makes it special.
100%. What's your favorite Coach K quote or lesson?
I think you know, the idea of the fist, right? And unconnected team playing more like an open hand, but a connected team playing like a fist, right? And when you're talking about being in combat, a fist is going to hurt a lot more than an open hand, right? And, you know, just the idea of that, you know, understanding that we have to be connected, right? And also, you got to be truthful with yourself and where you at, right? Don't make excuses, don't hide, don't run from it, right? If you're not where you want to be, work for it.
Absolutely.
Right? If you want more minutes, work for it. Be consistent. Right? And I think that's the life lesson that I learned and enjoyed the most from Coach.
Yeah. I know you didn't, you know, get to, you know, be John's teammate, but, you know, what does he mean to you? Obviously, he believes in you. Obviously, you know, he brought you back home. You know, talk a little bit about you guys' relationship and talk about, you know, the job he's done. I think he's done an incredible job.
Absolutely.
You know, since he's been, I mean, there's no tougher job to replace, you know, the greatest basketball coach of all time. But I think he's done, you know, a tremendous job of just keeping that standard. Watching this team this year and the last year's team as well, how prepared they were. Just we know John as a basketball player, but talk a little bit about you guys' relationship and his mind and just, you know, how you see him, you know, as a leader and a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my senior year was John's first year back in the program on the staff. And, you know, when I was going through the hiring process with him, I told him, seeing where he was when he started, you know, and just kind of figuring out to where he is now, you know, and seeing that growth, it's amazing. And like you said, to follow up behind Coach K, you know, that's the hardest
100%.
Gig anybody has ever had in terms of this coaching business. And he's done it his way with grace. And again, how he's handled his program as a head coach. I told him, it's like, I really want to learn from you and help me grow. I do have aspirations of being a head coach one day. And I told him, I was like, I think the way you've handled it and like I said, grown over these last 10 years in the business is admirable. And again, as a fan, the last few years watching the team play, it's been you can't ask for anything more. You know, the type of guys he's recruited to come play, but also the product on the floor. It's exciting to watch, and it reminds me of the teams that Duke has had the whole time, right? So, like I said, I'm really thankful that he thought of me. I know he probably got a million calls from some really, really high-level guys from the NBA to high-level college to come join him on his staff. But for him to look at me and see something in me, see value in me to kind of help him and help this program in the ways that I can, I'm extremely grateful and happy.
That has to give you a lot of confidence too, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it just, like I said, I couldn't have done it without the preparation that I received under Wojo and under Coach Blakeney. Those two guys gave me opportunity to find my voice, figure myself out in this business, and be prepared for the opportunity like this.
Let's get to some fun stuff, man. I know you're a music guy. You know, so what you listening to right now?
Right now, I would probably say my most played West Side Gun, Mac Hami, which I'm sure a lot of people don't really know, out of Griselda, Larry June, and then my all-time favorite is Currency, so he's staying in rotation.
100%. A lot of Currency on the drive up for sure. If you could have dinner with 3 people in history, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. I say Barack Obama be one. Malcolm X, throw him in there, and Muhammad Ali. That'd be my 3.
That's a tough 3. I'm gonna add a little bit. What restaurant would y'all have dinner at though? It's your choice though.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You pick the spot. Malcolm, Muhammad, and Barack. Hey, Chop. Hey, Ty, where we at tonight?
I got 2 spots.
Okay.
All right, if we in New York, we probably gonna hit Say Less.
Okay.
All right. If we in Miami, we going to my spot Q, KYU. That's my favorite spot in Miami. So it really depends on location.
For sure.
So if we in New York,
I know you're gonna put it together.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna put it together. If you could travel anywhere in the world for 5 days, where you going?
I would have to go somewhere I've been. So if I got 5 days, I'm going to Lake Como, Italy. Yeah.
I ain't as, seasoned as the guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking he talking about a lake up in Virginia somewhere.
Lake Como, Italy.
Okay.
And then if somewhere I haven't been to Africa yet.
Okay.
So I would love to go, bounce around Africa for 5 days. So those would be kind of my 5-day trip.
Okay. You just putting us on, man.
Hey, but Lake Como, you got to add that to the list, man.
I don't know if I can afford that right now. Couple more seasons in China.
Hey, once you hang them up
get over there, man. I'm gonna get over there
officially, man. That's the first trip.
Favorite TV show ever?
Oof. Favorite TV show ever? I'm gonna have to go Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Breaking Bad.
And why?
I just think the character development.
Yeah.
Actually, Miles Plumlee put me on. Yeah. He used to watch it on the bus rides, and I would I would just look over his shoulder and look at his laptop, and then once he left, I just ended up one day just like, let me throw that on, and it's just the character development is edgy, it's funny, so that would be my all time.
That's good. Doesn't matter, but anything could be fashion, it could be sports related, business related, anything. What's one brand you admire?
Oof. That's a good one.
You got them questions today, man.
One I would admire, I say for fashion, a Cold Wall. Is the designer Samuel Ross, African American I think he's based out of London, but the The designs are just really edgy, and it's not necessarily a straightforward brand, but that's kind of been my favorite brand. And a lot of people don't wear it. You know, I'm big on kind of staying away from the trends and just being true to myself.
Yeah.
And then the other brand that I would probably say that I probably worn the most in my life and bought the most stuff is Stussy. Is, you know, just a graphic tee, skateboard, surfer brand, but that's kind of my vibe when I'm chilling. So
y'all getting some love right now. Y'all getting some love right now.
So those be my two. And if y'all want to send some packages my way, man, look.
Hey, come on.
Go ahead, look out.
This Brotherhood podcast be popping right now. You know what I'm saying? Favorite place to visit in D.C.?
Favorite place to visit? That's a good one. Food-wise or just like in general?
Anywhere. Maybe, you know, if it's a spot to take trades, just to walk, just something to see, restaurant, anywhere.
I'll probably say the Hirshhorn Museum.
Okay.
It's a modern art museum, and I think right now they got a Basquiat exhibit in there.
Okay.
So I would probably say that would be like my favorite location to visit. But to be honest, I love being on the water, by the water.
Yeah.
So the wharf, the Georgetown waterfront, like especially during the summertime, those two you would find me there.
Favorite restaurant, favorite thing to eat, and not just DC, but you know it could be Virginia, Maryland. What's your favorite place to eat?
Favorite restaurant for happy hour was STK. You know, they got the best happy hour in DC.
Yeah.
And then to be honest, just like the favorite restaurant, you can't go wrong with the Hamilton.
I mean,
Hamilton,
them district wings.
Hey, that is. I like consistency, right?
My
So
goodness.
whenever you go, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
So the Hamilton would be.
Shout out to the Hamilton. They got the best wings in the city, besides like the carryout.
Yeah, the carryout, you know.
what I'm saying, America's best.
Yeah.
But my favorite spot is Lido's Pizza.
Lido's, can't go wrong.
Hey, Lido's, man.
Gotta
hey,
get it
show me
well
some
done.
love. Let me get a gift card or something.
Got to
man.
get the well done piece at the Lido's too.
Hey, see, people don't understand. Like, New York gets love for the pizza. Chicago.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I'm keep hearing Boston got some good pizza, but I will put Lido's pizza.
What's your Lido's order? What you get?
Man, pepperoni, large pepperoni.
You get the hot honey pepperoni or the regular joint?
Straight regular traditional. I ain't about to play no games.
I'm the hot honey.
Get straight to it. You know,
I gotta spice
call
it
it
up.
chop, fancy. I keep it, man. Let me get that traditional pepperoni. I ain't about to play, man. Before we go, man, DMV all-time starting five.
Ooh.
You can include yourself, but I need your starting five from the DMV.
I'm gonna go Quinn Cook. Go Nolan Smith. Go G Hill.
Oh my gosh,
I'm gonna go
we ain't losing.
KD. Mike Beasley.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, Mike Beasley. That's my crew.
We ain't losing.
What you think about that?
We ain't losing. I'll tell you that. They better get the dream team, the redeem team.
That's gonna be my five.
No, that's a good five. That's a good five. Shout out to those guys. Who's your greatest, your Mount Rushmore greatest athletes from the DMV?
Greatest athletes from the DMV. Ooh, that's a good one. I guess we got to go. So Mount Rushmore, that's four. We're going to throw Grant Hill on there. Going to throw your man Stephon Diggs on there.
Okay. Shout out to Steph, man. Shout out to Steph.
Throw Javonte Davis on there.
Tank. Knockout artist.
Trying to think. I'm trying to make sure I ain't missing those sports. I guess the last one.
We got football, boxing,
some baseball,
basketball, and
it was a baseball dude that went to Mount St. Joe's. I'm drawing a blank on his name. That was real nice.
But baseball.
Yeah, but nah, we gonna add another basketball on there. KD.
Yeah. No question.
Throw KD on there.
No question. That's a great four right there. What's the last show you watched on Netflix?
Oof. So when me and wifey watch shows together, she always falls asleep in the first 5 minutes. So I say we turn on shows. We don't really watch them on there. Right. But I want to say it was a show called The Residence or The Residency, one of the two. It's a crime spy not documentary show on there that was pretty funny. So
Okay.
yeah,
Favorite non-hooper athlete?
non-hooper athlete. I was looking at my Duke bio recently, and I said Deion Sanders when I was coming in, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Prime.
Prime.
What's up, man?
Shout
Keep
out
going,
to
Keep
Deion,
going,
man.
What's your favorite protein? Is it non-basketball though?
Non-basketball,
Is it still-
it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Is
baby.
it
I'm still
You
a
rolling
Buc.
with Baker in them?
I'm still rolling with my guys.
Man, I know we had to, come up to Tampa Bay in the playoffs last year and send y'all home. Shout out to Jay and Daniels and them.
Hey, shout out to your team,
You know what
though.
I'm saying?
They
We
bounced back. They moving
We
back
back,
to DC.
baby.
Shout out to
We back, baby.
I keep calling them the other team, the Commanders, man. Shout out to the Commanders. Hey,
We back,
I got
man.
love for all the black
Hey, look,
quarterbacks.
how did he become a Tampa Bay fan? Like,
Well, I'll tell you the
that used
story.
to throw me off.
I'll make it quick.
Tell us a story.
You know, we used to have AAU Nationals down in Orlando. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers used to have training camp over there on the fields at the Milk House. So
100%.
I went over there, used to watch them in between games.
100%.
And that's when they had Warren Sapp and all those guys. And at the time, I was a Redskins fan, but I was like, they was losing. So I told my people, I got to find my own team. So I picked the Buccaneers, and then honestly, a few years later, they ended up winning it. So I was good.
And you
Stayed
stayed down
loyal.
since. You
Stayed
stayed
loyal.
down since.
And then we got Tom Brady. We got the GOAT. He gave us one, so I'm good for another, for a little bit. I ain't tripping.
See, that's one thing that I'm jealous, man. I've never seen my squad. Our last Super Bowl was the year before I was born.
Good gracious.
So I ain't seen that yet. So it's on the way. Hopefully, man. Before we go, man, what's your prediction in the league? We got OKC representing the West right now in the finals, and obviously New York won last night. So Indiana was up 3-2.
Yep.
Got game 6 tomorrow. What's your prediction? Of the NBA finals.
I would love for that Eastern Conference to go 7 games because again, this time of the year, it gets kind of sad when it's about to be the end of basketball. I'm trying to drag it out.
Game a day,
I'm trying to drag it out. So I want that to go to 7, but I think OKC got the most complete team. And then they got the best player still available. Again, Halliburton and Brunson, they are playing at a high level.
Yeah.
But SGA, man, this is his time. And just those guys understanding their roles, understanding how to play off each other. I mean, I think the way they're playing right now, they probably got the best chance to win it.
Yeah. That's great, man. Ty, man, this has been amazing. Like I said, bro, when you told me the news, I felt like I won a championship, bro. I think you've always been so selfless, been such a giver. Making sure everybody's good before yourself. Not saying you don't look out for yourself, but you're always worried about, the next person, man. You've been an inspiration for me. I wanted to get into coaching one day, so I'm always picking your brain during the season, man. And you always been available. There's been times at 3 a.m. you answering the phone, you're watching film, man. So for me, man, just I love you, bro. I'm so proud of you, man. I wouldn't be who I am without you. My time here was tough, but you always helped me. You always guided me through. We would compete, for 2 hours. We want to take each other's head off, and you used to always be able to pick me up. I have my rough days. You was always there to take me out to eat, do something. And any time that I've done anything successful in my life, you've been the first to call, man. And I appreciate you. What you've done for my life, my family's life has been great. And you deserve this, bro.
I appreciate
you deserve
bro.
it. You back at the show. No disrespect
back
to
home.
Marquette and Howard. Obviously, great programs, but I'm biased, and this is my home, man.
Yeah.
So happy that you're back. And I know the fans are ecstatic, and I know you're gonna bring greatness here. Duke is already great, but you're gonna bring even more greatness, and so thankful for you, man. And I'm happy we got to do this, man. And lastly, before you go, man, just tell the fans, man, just how great they are, how special they are to you and your family, and just what's to expect the next couple of years.
Hey man, Duke Nation, y'all 1-1. You can't duplicate it, and I'm just excited to have my family be back here. Like I said, my son, he's 4. To have him have opportunity to grow up and see the crazies and, again, feel from that inspiration. I'm just super excited, and I'm ready to work, and I'm ready to win. And, you know, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help these guys get over the hump. And just expect us to get out there and compete, play hard, and play at a high level.
Yep.
And take it a day at a time, and continue to support these guys, be positive with these guys. You know, it's a crazy world, and, you know, with everything going on, man, just support these guys in any way you can. And I promise you, on the flip side, they'll give y'all what y'all want.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, this was amazing. This was
Appreciate
great.
you, QC.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Breaking news, man.
Hey.
Tyler Thornton is back.
We back.
He's back in Cameron. Brotherhood podcast. It's Q Cook, national champ 2015. It's been 10 years. Appreciate y'all.
Amen.
Chop back. Love y'all, man. Duke Nation. We out.